TJ Mack Vintage Cards here, doing a set profile of 1971 today, finishing up my Super 71s weekend. I did baseball, hockey, now I'm doing the football set. I did have the basketball set this year, but I sold it because I sold my basketball card collection. Never sold any of my cards before, but I just, basketball was just getting very, very expensive, and I could not finish the runs that I wanted to do. I finished the 70s. I had all the key cards from the 71 to 80. I didn't have all the 70 tall boys. But I wanted to finish all that, and the prices just got too crazy. I started buying mine about 10 years ago when they were dirt cheap, and then everything just got out of control. So I don't like basketball enough to put that kind of money into it. So I sold it and want to finish up some other card projects that I'm working on, and put some money towards some things in the household and that. So no regrets on that. Just going to stick with football, hockey, and baseball now. And this again is the 71 set. 1971, the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. They beat the Dolphins. Roger Staubach, unfortunately, he led the team to the Super Bowl that year, but he didn't start the season. He does not have a card in this set. His rookie card was not until 1972. Imagine if him and the Bradshaw card were together in this set, that would have been great. But typical of the NFL cards back then is they didn't make a lot of cards in the sets that year. This set, I believe, was 264 cards. So they didn't have enough room to make backup quarterbacks. They couldn't do all the starters for teams, let alone do a lot of backups. So this is the first card in the set. This is a Johnny Unitas card, the number 1. Beautiful example of this card. This is Lance Alworth's last card with the Chargers. He had 2 cards with the Cowboys after this. The AFC cards were red bordered that year. The All-Star cards were blue and red border. The NFC were all blue border. These are beautiful, colorful cards. Here's the Dick Butkus. And next to that is the Larry Zonka. Great example of that card. And here's Ken Houston. He was a 12-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, Hall of Fame safety, played for the Oilers and the Redskins, and just a great defensive player of his time. This is Willie Lanier's rookie. He was the middle linebacker for the Chiefs, and as I stated before, I mean, he started in 1967. His first card is not until 1971. So he made 8 Pro Bowls and was a 3-time first-team All-Pro. This is just how it was back then. Sometimes you wouldn't see cards of players a few years into their career. But I'm just glad to have this example, and I'm glad they, I think this was a good year to make his rookie card because it's a beautiful looking card with the red jersey and the half red borders. Shows up real nice. Fran Tarkenton, last card with the Giants. He started his career with the Vikings, was traded to the Giants after the '67 season. The coach, Norm Van Brocklin, really didn't care for his playing style, so he was traded. He finished his career, though, with the Vikings after the season, was traded back. Bud Grant wanted him back, and he led the team to some Super Bowls in the 70s, but they lost them. When he retired in 1979, he was the all-time leading passer and all-time leading touchdown leader, ahead of Johnny Unitas in both categories. Tarkenton had 342 touchdowns. Unitas had 290. Tarkenton had 47,003 passing yards, which was about 7,000 more than Unitas. Now Fran Tarkenton ranks 13th in NFL history in passing yards. The game has changed a lot. Here's Merlin Olsen, fearsome foursome defensive tackle for the Rams teams in the 60s and early 70s. And he also was on Little House of the Prairie, other TV shows. He did the FTD flour commercials and was an announcer. A very gentle person, but on the field he was tough. Ray Nitschke and this beautiful blue bordered background, or blue bordered card with the blue sky in the background. This is his last Packers card, or last card from his playing days period. And he was just part of those great Packers teams of the 60s. Next to him is Bob Lilly, of the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl champs, as I said, from that year. Gayle Sayers, looking very serious. Here's Terry Bradshaw. This is his rookie card in 1971. Threw for about 2,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. He had a 54.7% completion percentage. Those numbers would get him on the bench today. But in the 70s, it was a different game. The rules favored the defenses, not the offenses. You can hit receivers down the field. Quarterbacks weren't protected, so he played at a very tough time to be a quarterback. He would have succeeded in any era, though. He had the leadership, the great arm, led those teams, those Steelers teams, to 4 Super Bowls. He was an MVP in '78. So he would have succeeded at any time. Just happened to play at a time when offense was not paramount in the NFL. There's a 2-time All-Pro Bob Griese, and also 2-time Super Bowl champion. Fred Biletnikoff led the league with 71 catches, the whole NFL. 61 receptions, the whole NFL in 1971. Going into Week 15, he would be 24th in the NFL with 61 catches. The game, again, has changed immensely since 1971. Len Dawson on the sharp card, probably one of my favorites in the set, with the red borders, yellow lettering. It matches his jersey perfectly. Just a beautiful card. Roger Wehrli, this is his rookie cornerback for the Cardinals, and again, he was in the league for a few years, and then they didn't make his card till '71. This is Bart Starr's last card with the Packers. Again, like Nitschke, just a beautiful example with the blue borders. This is the he believes he would have been the all-time sack leader had they kept the stat back in the 1960s. He was a feared pass rusher. He was on the fearsome foursome line with Merlin Olsen, and he was just a great player, known for the head slap, where he'd hit the helmet of the offensive lineman to gain an advantage to get to the quarterback, and was also a great interview in his day. Deacon Jones. And here's another great lineman of his time is Joe Greene, Mean Joe Greene, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And these Steelers teams in '71 were on the cusp of being great. In '72, they went to the championship game against the Dolphins. They beat the Raiders in the divisional round with the immaculate reception play. That was very controversial for the time. You can look that one up. But this is the rookie card of Mean Joe Greene. Here's Joe Namath. His career kind of started going down. He was injured a lot, but he was just a great talent at quarterback, and certainly a deserving Hall of Famer. And finishing up with O.J. Simpson with the Bills. Started his career out a little bit slow, especially considering how good he was in college. But in '73, he had 2,003 rushing yards in a 14-game season, which is really unbelievable if you think about it. And he was a leader of the ground game for the Bills in the 1970s, finishing his career with the 49ers and eventually entering the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, his later life overshadows his great career. And one last look at '71 Topps Football. Appreciate everybody taking the time to watch my videos, and you have a great weekend.